In the endless darkness of space, a lonely escape pod drifted without power. Its surface was burned, its engines dead, and its distress beacon flickered weakly, like the final heartbeat of something that refused to die. For days, maybe weeks, it floated among shattered rocks near a forgotten planet. No one should have found it. No one should have cared. But fate had other plans. The human patrol ship Vigilant was returning from a border sweep when its radar picked up a faint signal. At first, the crew thought it was just debris, old war, junk left behind after one of the countless battles that had scarred this region. But the signal wasn't random. It was steady. It was a distress call. Lieutenant Carter leaned over the console. "Captain, you might want to see this. I'm picking up an old emergency beacon, Karn design." Captain Rhodes turned his head. The name alone made the crew tense. The Karn Empire was one of humanity's greatest enemies. There had been too many wars, too much blood. "Are you sure?" the captain asked, his voice calm but cold. "Yes, sir," Carter replied. "Definitely Karn. Looks like a civilian pod, small, maybe one occupant." The bridge went quiet. Commander Vega, the ship's second in command, frowned. "We should leave it, Captain. Could be a trap. You know how they hate us." Rhodes didn't answer right away. His gray eyes stayed fixed on the blinking dot on the screen. A trap, maybe. But something in his gut told him this wasn't one. "Bring us closer," he finally said. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. Humans weren't known for mercy, not after the wars. The galaxy called them bloodthirsty, savage, uncontrolled. And maybe they were. But they also had something the other species didn't: curiosity, the kind that ignored fear. Minutes later, the Vigilant hovered beside the pod. The ship's drone extended its mechanical arms, latching onto the broken hull and pulling it into the docking bay. When the doors sealed, the crew gathered around, weapons ready. The pod door hissed open slowly, releasing a cloud of cold air and the faint smell of burnt metal. Inside, lying curled up and barely moving, was a small alien child. She couldn't have been more than 10 years old by human guess. Her skin was pale blue and faintly glowing. Silver veins traced delicate lines along her arms and neck. Her breathing was weak. Her clothes were torn, her hair tangled, and around her wrist was a shattered royal insignia. "By the stars," Vega whispered. "That's a Karn girl." Rhodes stepped forward, scanning her face. "Get the med team here. Now." "Sir," Vega protested, "you can't be serious. If the Karn find out we took her, they'll send an entire fleet after us." The captain turned, his expression calm but sharp. "And if we leave her to die, what does that make us?" No one answered. Moments later, the medics rushed in with stretchers and scanners. They worked fast, checking her vitals. "She's alive," one said. "Barely. Severe dehydration, internal injuries. She's been drifting for a long time." They lifted her onto the stretcher and hurried to the infirmary. As they passed through the corridor, crew members stopped to stare. Some whispered. Others looked away. Saving a Karn, especially a Karn royal, wasn't just dangerous. It was madness. Rhodes followed silently, his boots echoing on the metal floor. He remembered the war years, the burning skies, the screams of civilians, the orders to kill or be killed. The Karn had called humans beasts, monsters, bloodthirsty savages who fought without mercy. Maybe they were right. But standing here, looking at a dying child, he couldn't find any reason to leave her behind. In the infirmary, the alien girl's heart rate spiked for a moment. Her eyelids fluttered. She whispered something in her language too weak to be clear. The medic leaned closer. "Captain," she said something about, "they're coming." Rhodes frowned. "Who's coming?" Before anyone could ask again, the ship's alarm blared. "Captain," Carter's voice came through the intercom. "Multiple warp signatures detected. Karn ships 305, closing fast." The crew froze. Vega looked at the unconscious girl, then at Rhodes. "You see? They were tracking her. They'll kill us all for this." Rhodes stared at the girl. Her small chest rose and fell, a spark of life fighting against the dark. He clenched his jaw. "Prepare for evasive maneuvers," he ordered. "We're not handing her over." "But, Captain, that's an order." The Vigilant's engines roared to life. Outside, the stars stretched as the ship turned sharply, diving into a field of drifting asteroids. Behind them, flashes of light marked the arrival of the Karn ships. The chase had begun. Rhodes looked one last time at the girl through the glass window of the medbay. For a moment, her glowing eyes opened and met his. They were full of fear, but also something else. Hope. He didn't know who she was or why she was running. But one thing was clear. This child shouldn't be alive. And now, every force in the galaxy would try to make sure she didn't stay that way. Yet somehow, against all odds, she had been found. By the one species everyone feared most. The bloodthirsty humans. And they weren't planning to let her die. The Vigilant tore through the darkness of space, its engines screaming against the pull of gravity. Behind it, 5 Karn warships glowed like angry stars. Blue plasma bolts cut through the black, lighting up the asteroid field like fireworks from hell. Inside the ship, alarms blared. Red lights flashed. The crew ran through the corridors, shouting commands and sealing compartments. Captain Rhodes stood on the bridge, his eyes fixed on the screens. "Keep our course unpredictable," he ordered. "Cut through the field. Make them work for every shot." Lieutenant Carter's hands flew over the controls. "Sir, their targeting systems are faster than ours. If we stay in the open, we're dead." "Then don't stay in the open," Rhodes replied coldly. "Hide us." The Vigilant dove between 2 massive rocks, scraping its shields across rough stone. Sparks danced along the hull. The ship groaned like a wounded beast, but it held. Down in the medbay, the alien girl, Lyra, lay on the bed, surrounded by glowing medical instruments. Her breathing was uneven, her pulse weak. The medic, Dr. Leon, worked fast to stabilize her. "She won't last long like this," Leon muttered. "Her blood chemistry is unlike anything I've seen. It's changing." Commander Vega stormed in, his face twisted in anger. "We're being hunted because of her. We should have left that pod to rot." Leon didn't look up. "She's a child." "She's the enemy," Vega snapped. "You think the Karn will care that she's small or weak? They'll tear us apart, then take her body just to make sure she's dead." Captain Rhodes entered the med bay quietly, his presence enough to silence the room. "Doctor, how is she?" Leon hesitated. "Alive, for now. But there's something strange in her blood, some kind of nanotech. I've never seen anything like it." Vega crossed his arms. "There it is. Proof she's a weapon. We're sheltering a walking bomb." Rhodes ignored him. He stepped closer to the girl. Her face was calm now, peaceful, though her skin glowed faintly under the med lights. "She doesn't look like a bomb," he said softly. "Looks don't matter, sir," Vega shot back. "Intent does. And the Karn don't forgive." Rhodes looked at his old friend, then back at the girl. "Maybe they don't. But that's their problem, not mine." Vega's jaw tightened. "You're risking everyone for her." "I know," Rhodes said quietly. "And I'd do it again." The bridge called out through the intercom. "Captain, they're closing in. 2 ships are breaking formation. They're trying to flank us." "Bring the forward guns online," Rhodes ordered. "And tell the crew, if they want to live, they'll fight like humans." The word spread through the ship like fire. In the gun bay, crew members strapped themselves into heavy cannons, gritting their teeth as the ship shook under enemy fire. They had fought the Karn before, but this time it felt different. They weren't fighting for revenge. They weren't fighting for pride. They were fighting for one small life. Outside, the Vigilant spun between asteroids, launching bursts of plasma at the Karn ships. 2 shots hit their mark. One enemy shield flickered, another's engine caught fire. But there were too many. Inside the medbay, Lyra's body convulsed. Her eyes shot open, glowing bright silver. She gasped, then screamed, a high, haunting sound that echoed through the ship's comms. Lights flickered. Consoles sparked. "Doctor," Leon shouted, Her energy levels are spiking. It's like her body's fighting something off. Rhodes rushed to her side, holding her hand down gently. Easy. You're safe here. Lyra's eyes locked on his face. Safe? She whispered, her voice trembling. Humans don't save us. Humans kill us. Rhodes didn't flinch. Maybe the ones you met did, but not us. She stared at him, her breath shaking. They're coming for me. You'll die for nothing. Rhodes's voice was calm but steady. Maybe, but if we let you die, we become what they say we are. Monsters. And I'm done being anyone's monster. The ship rocked violently as a plasma blast struck the hull. Sirens howled again. Shields down to 40%, Carter shouted from the bridge. Rhodes turned to Vega. Get us out of this field. Jump as soon as we clear the gravity shadow. Vega hesitated, then nodded. Aye, Captain. The Vigilant burst from the asteroid belt, engines burning bright. The Karn ships followed, their guns glowing with lethal blue fire. Now, Rhodes ordered. The jump drive engaged, bending light itself. In an instant, the stars blurred and vanished. The ship was gone, leaving behind only empty space and furious Karn. Silence filled the bridge. The crew sat frozen, hearts pounding. Rhodes let out a slow breath. Report. Damage moderate, Carter said. Shields recharging. No pursuit detected. Vega turned to Rhodes, shaking his head. You pulled us through again, Captain. But next time, luck might not be on our side. Rhodes looked toward the medbay where Lyra now slept under a soft glow. Maybe, he said quietly. But I think she's the reason we're still alive. The others stared at him. She's not just a survivor, Rhodes continued. She's the key to something bigger. And until I find out what, we keep her safe. He walked out of the bridge, his boots echoing against the metal floor. In the quiet of the medbay, Lyra stirred again. Her fingers twitched and faintly, just faintly, she whispered a word in her own language. Later, the translator would confirm its meaning. Hope. And though no one on the ship heard it somehow, they all felt it. The humans, once called bloodthirsty beasts, had done the unthinkable. They had chosen to protect, not destroy, and somewhere in the cold dark of space, destiny had begun to change. The Vigilant drifted silently in the dark sea of space. Its engines hummed softly now, the chaos of battle replaced by uneasy calm. The crew moved quietly through the narrow halls, patching broken panels and sealing cracks in the hull. The smell of burnt wiring still hung in the air. They had escaped for now. In the medical bay, dim lights flickered over the small alien girl lying on the bed. Her breathing was shallow, her face pale blue, her skin faintly glowing beneath the bandages. Machines whispered around her, showing weak but steady signs of life. Dr. Leon sat beside her, staring at the strange readings on his screen. Her body's healing fast, he murmured, mostly to himself. Too fast. Captain Rhodes stood near the doorway, arms folded. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Leon sighed. Depends who you ask, Captain. Whatever's inside her blood, it's repairing cells faster than any medicine we know. But it's also rewriting them. It's like her body's fighting to stay alive even when she shouldn't. Rhodes looked down at her. The girl who shouldn't be alive, he said quietly. Leon nodded. Exactly. As they spoke, Lyra's eyelids fluttered. Her hand twitched slightly. Her voice came out as a faint whisper. Where am I? Rhodes stepped closer. You're safe. You're on a human ship. The Vigilant. The moment she heard the word, human, her eyes shot open, bright silver, wide with fear. She tried to sit up but gasped in pain. No, don't hurt me. Leon reached for her shoulders gently. Easy, you're hurt. We're not going to harm you. Lyra shook her head, trembling. Humans destroy. Humans burn worlds. My people said you eat your enemies. Rhodes kept his voice calm. If that were true, you wouldn't still be breathing. She froze, her breathing fast. Her gaze darted between him and the doctor. Why did you save me? Rhodes didn't answer right away. He thought of the battles, the endless killing, the name the galaxy gave his kind, bloodthirsty. He sighed. Because you were alone, he said softly. And no one deserves to die alone. Lyra stared at him for a long time, confusion flickering in her eyes. You don't understand. They'll come for me. They always do. They'll kill you too. Rhodes met her gaze steadily. Let them try. For the first time, a small flicker of something, doubt, maybe even hope, touched her expression. Later, in the ship's mess hall, the crew gathered in low voices. Some were angry. Some were scared. All of them were curious. She's a Karn Royal, one of the engineers whispered. I saw the mark on her wrist before they took it off. The Karn will never stop hunting us now. Another replied, so what? The captain says she stays, she stays. Maybe this time we prove the galaxy wrong about us. The others looked doubtful. Humans had earned their dark reputation. No one in the galaxy ever forgot the wars. Meanwhile, Lyra sat quietly in the med bay, watching the stars pass through the small window. Dr. Leon gave her water, but she barely touched it. She had never been this close to a human before, never this unguarded. Your people fear us, Leon said softly. I can see it in your eyes. Fear? She whispered. We don't just fear you. We hate you. The elders told us stories. You burned cities. You left nothing behind. Leon smiled sadly. Stories always leave out half the truth. Lyra tilted her head. And what's your truth? He looked at her gently. That we fought because we had to. Not because we wanted to. She didn't respond. But she didn't look away either. Hours passed. The ship floated near the edge of a dying star system, hiding from scanners. The crew tried to rest, but sleep came slow. Everyone knew the Karn would come again. Rhodes returned to the med bay, carrying a small data pad. You said they'll come for you, he began. Why, what's so important about you? Lyra hesitated. Her fingers gripped the blanket. I don't know, she said quietly. Or maybe, I'm not supposed to tell, not supposed to. They said I carry something dangerous, she whispered. Something that should never fall into human hands. Rhodes raised an eyebrow. Too late for that? Lyra met his gaze, fear flickering again. If they find me, they'll destroy everything. You can't win against them. Rhodes crouched beside her bed. We've been told that before, he said with a faint smile. And yet here we are. For a moment she stared at him, this tall, scarred human with tired eyes, and saw something she didn't expect. Not cruelty, not bloodlust, but weariness and kindness. Her voice softened. You're different from what they told us. He stood, looking out the window at the endless dark. Maybe we're not as bad as you think. Or maybe we just got tired of being the monsters everyone says we are. The silence between them grew gentle, almost peaceful. Then the ship's intercom crackled to life. Captain, we've got something, Carter's voice said. A faint signal, same Karn frequency as before. It's getting stronger. Lyra's heart stopped. Her silver eyes widened. They found me. Rhodes didn't move. Then we'll make them regret it. As the red lights flashed again and the crew ran to battle stations, Lyra watched from her bed, clutching the sheets. She had always been told that humans were destroyers, creatures of blood and fury. But now, as she heard their voices over the comms, steady, brave, unafraid, she wasn't so sure anymore. Maybe the monsters she'd been warned about weren't monsters at all. Maybe they were the only ones willing to fight for her. And somewhere deep inside, for the first time in her life, the alien girl began to hope that the galaxy had been wrong about the bloodthirsty humans. The Vigilant floated in the shadow of a dead moon, silent as a ghost. The stars outside shimmered like scattered embers, but inside the ship, tension hung heavy in the air. Every creak, every hum of machinery sounded too loud. They had escaped again, but no one believed it would last. In the med bay, Lyra sat upright now, wrapped in a dark gray blanket that looked far too big for her small frame. Her glowing blue skin had regained color, and her silver eyes darted around the room nervously. Dr. Leon worked at his console, scanning her blood sample again, his brow furrowed deeper with every passing second. The data on his screen made no sense. Captain Rhodes entered quietly, his boots echoing against the metal floor. You look like you've seen a ghost, Doctor. Leon didn't turn around. I might have seen something worse. Rhodes stepped closer. What is it? Leon hesitated, his voice low and troubled. Her blood, it's... Alive, Captain, Rhodes frowned. Alive? What do you mean? I mean it changes, Leon said. The sample I took an hour ago isn't the same now. It's adapting, healing, learning. He looked up, eyes wide. There are nanites in her bloodstream, ancient ones. Not mechanical, but biological. Something between machine and cell. Rhodes's gaze drifted to Lyra. Nanites? That's old tech. Lost centuries ago, Leon nodded. Exactly. But these are active. They're rebuilding her from the inside out. They could heal almost anything, disease, wounds, maybe even death itself. Lyra's eyes flickered toward them, nervous. You shouldn't have looked, she whispered. They said no one must know. Rhodes crouched beside her. Who said that, Lyra? She shook her head, tears forming in her eyes. My guardians, the High Karn priests. They told me I carried the curse of life. That if anyone found out, the wars would begin again. Rhodes's voice softened. A curse, Lyra? That sounds like a gift, she looked away. Not to my people. They say humans destroy everything they touch. If you had this, you'd rule the galaxy. Rhodes smiled faintly, but there was no humor in it. We can't even rule ourselves, Leon interrupted quietly. Captain, she might be right about one thing. This technology, it could change everything. Heal every illness, regrow lost limbs, even fix radiation damage. But in the wrong hands. Rhodes finished the thought for him. It could make an army that never dies. The words hung heavy in the air. In the command deck, the crew whispered rumors. Some said the alien girl was a weapon. Others said she was a miracle. A few said she was both. Vega found Rhodes staring out the viewport, lost in thought. You're thinking of using her blood, aren't you? He asked sharply. Rhodes didn't answer right away. I'm thinking of what it could do. What it could mean, Vega scoffed. Don't kid yourself, Captain. The last time humans got a miracle, it started a war that burned 3 systems. Rhodes turned, his eyes cold but steady. And the last time we turned away someone who needed help, we became the monsters they say we are. Vega sighed, lowering his voice. You're playing with fire. And this girl, she's the spark. Rhodes didn't argue. He knew Vega was right. But he also knew something else, something he hadn't said out loud. The moment he'd looked into Lyra's eyes, he'd seen something he hadn't seen in years. Hope. Hours later, the Vigilant drifted near a nebula, its glowing mist hiding them from scanners. The crew tried to rest, but the air still felt electric with unease. In the med bay, Lyra sat beside the glowing medical console, watching her reflection in the glass. You don't understand what they'll do, she whispered. They'll burn every ship, every planet that helps me. Rhodes leaned against the doorway. We've been burned before. We survived. Lyra looked up at him. Why? Why do you risk everything for me? He smiled faintly. Because someone once risked everything for me. She blinked, confused. Who? My mother, he said quietly. When the wars began, she smuggled human children off a dying world. The Karn caught her. She didn't beg. Didn't run. She just said one thing before they executed her. We don't stop saving people, no matter what they call us. Lyra was silent. Her silver eyes softened, filled with something that looked like sorrow. I don't want anyone to die because of me, she whispered. Rhodes stepped closer. Then help us understand why they're hunting you. Maybe we can stop it. Lyra hesitated, then raised her trembling hand. My blood doesn't just heal, she said softly. It remembers. It carries history, codes from the time before the wars. My people want it erased, but your kind once made it. Rhodes froze. Humans made it. Lyra nodded slowly. Long ago, before the Karn even existed. The room went quiet. Rhodes exhaled slowly, his mind racing. Humanity had been blamed for many horrors across the stars, but this was something else. Something ancient. Then maybe, he said quietly, you're not a curse at all. Maybe you're the key to fixing everything we broke. Lyra looked at him with wide, uncertain eyes. And if they come again? Rhodes' voice hardened. Then they'll see what the bloodthirsty humans are really capable of. Outside the viewport, the nebula swirled like a living storm, colors shifting, lightning flashing within, and somewhere deep inside the Vigilant, a faint hum pulsed through the ship's systems, the echo of Lyra's living nanites, spreading like a heartbeat through the metal veins of humanity's last hope. The peace didn't last. For 2 long days, the Vigilant hid deep inside the glowing mist of the nebula, surrounded by shifting clouds of red and gold. The crew moved quietly, speaking in low voices, checking scanners again and again. Each minute stretched like an hour. Every sound felt like a warning. Lyra stayed close to the medbay window, staring into the endless light. "They'll find us soon," she whispered. Captain Rhodes stood beside her, his arms crossed. "Let them come," she looked up at him. "You still don't understand. They don't want to capture me anymore. They want to erase me. They'll burn this ship to atoms." Rhodes smiled faintly, though his eyes were tired. "They'll have to get close enough first." In the engine room, Chief Engineer Brooks was knee-deep in wiring and coolant pipes. "She's holding together," he muttered, wiping sweat from his forehead. "Barely." Vega stepped in, voice sharp. "The captain's gambling again. Hiding in a nebula, what's next? Flying into a black hole?" Brooks smirked. "You don't get it, do you? He's not gambling. He's daring them to try." The ship's alarm suddenly flared to life. "Captain," Carter's voice echoed through the intercom. "Multiple warp signatures detected coming straight toward us." The deck shook as the Vigilance shields flared. The Karn fleet had found them. Rhodes strode onto the bridge, his voice cutting through the chaos.
"Status!"
5 destroyers closing fast," Carter shouted. "They must have tracked our energy trail through the nebula." "Targeting systems online," Vega said. "Weapons ready." "Good," Rhodes said calmly. "Let's remind them who they're dealing with." The stars vanished as plasma blasts tore through the mist, lighting it up like lightning. The Vigilance spun through the fire, returning shot after shot. Every hit made the hull scream. Sparks rained from the ceiling. The crew held their ground. In the medbay, Lyra felt the floor tremble. She grabbed the edge of her bed as the walls flickered with light. "They're here," she whispered, her voice shaking. Dr. Leon rushed in, strapping down equipment. "Stay low." Lyra pressed her hands over her ears, but she could still hear the explosions. Something inside her stirred deep in her blood. The nanites pulsed, reacting to her fear. Her skin began to glow brighter. Leon stared at her. "What's happening?" "I can feel them," she gasped. "Their weapons, their engines, it's like they're screaming in my head." He took a step back, stunned. "You're connected to them?" Lyra closed her eyes. "To everything." On the bridge, the battle raged. The Vigilance guns roared, punching holes in the enemy's formation. One Karn ship exploded in a brilliant flash, its fragments vanishing into the nebula. But the others kept coming. "Shields down to 20%. Carter yelled. Brooks' voice came through the comm. "Engines overheating. We can't keep this up." Rhodes clenched his fists. "We're not running." Vega turned to him sharply. "Captain, we'll die here if we stay." "Then we die standing," Rhodes snapped. At that moment, the doors slid open. Lyra stumbled in, glowing faintly, her silver eyes burning with strange light. "Captain," she said breathlessly, "I can stop them." Everyone froze. Rhodes turned to her. "You shouldn't be here." "I can feel their ships," she said, her voice trembling but sure. "I can reach their systems. The same thing that heals me, it can break them." Vega frowned. "You're saying you can control their tech?" "Not control," she whispered, "but touch. Corrupt. End it." Rhodes stared at her, trying to decide if it was madness or a miracle. "What will it do to you?" he asked. She hesitated. "I don't know." The ship shook violently. Sparks flew. A plasma bolt tore past the bridge window. "Captain," Carter shouted. "They're charging their main cannon." Rhodes made his choice. "Do it." Lyra closed her eyes. The lights flickered. The air itself seemed to hum. Her veins glowed brighter, the color spreading through her body like liquid fire. Outside, the Karn ships opened fire, then suddenly froze mid-attack. Their engines dimmed. Their lights died. One by one, their cannons fell silent. Then came the explosion. A blinding flash tore through the nebula. The Karn flagship disintegrated, taking the rest with it. The shockwave slammed into the Vigilant, throwing everyone off their feet. Systems went dark. Silence followed. Rhodes pulled himself up, coughing through the smoke. "Report?" No answer. He stumbled toward Lyra. She was on the floor, motionless, her glow fading. "Lyra," he called, kneeling beside her. Her breathing was shallow, her skin pale again. She opened her eyes weakly. "Did it work?" Rhodes smiled faintly. "You did it," she exhaled slowly. "Good." Her hand fell limp. Dr. Leon burst in moments later, scanning her frantically. "She's alive, but barely. Whatever she did drained her energy. She's fading." Rhodes stood silently, staring at the cracked window where the nebula still shimmered outside. They had won, but at what cost? Hours later, as the crew repaired the ship, Vega found Rhodes in the medbay standing beside Lyra's bed. The girl slept peacefully, her glow faint but steady. Vega crossed his arms. She saved us. Maybe she saved all of us. Rhodes nodded slowly, and now it's our turn to save her. Outside, the stars began to shine again through the thinning mist. The galaxy had seen the humans as monsters, bloodthirsty, violent, merciless, but tonight the monsters had bled for a child who wasn't even theirs. And somewhere in that quiet, broken ship, hope burned brighter than any star. Silence filled the vigilant. The battle was over, but the ship felt haunted. Scorched panels, flickering lights, and the faint smell of smoke lingered everywhere. The crew moved like ghosts, repairing what they could and avoiding each other's eyes. They had survived, but no one knew for how long. In the med bay, Lyra lay still under a soft light. Her blue skin had faded to a pale gray, her pulse faint but steady. The faint shimmer that once surrounded her was gone, as if her life force had burned out in the battle. Dr. Leon leaned over her, checking her vitals again. "She's alive," he whispered, "but she's fading faster every hour." Captain Rhodes stood near the doorway, his face shadowed. "Can you bring her back?" Leon shook his head. "Not with what we have. Her body's running out of whatever powers those nanites. They need something. Energy. A spark." Rhodes frowned. Could she recover if she returned to her people? Leanne hesitated. Maybe, but they'd kill her before she reached their world. Rhodes didn't reply. He turned away, watching the stars outside. The light of the nebula still glowed faintly, reflecting on his scarred face. The next morning, the crew gathered in the briefing room. Everyone looked tired. The air was thick with whispers. Vega slammed his hand on the table. "We can't keep running. That blast wiped out 5 Karn ships, and you think they'll just walk away? They'll send a fleet next time, a real one." Rhodes stood at the front, calm as stone. "We'll be gone before they find us." "And go where?" Vega snapped. "Every station, every colony. They'll all turn us in the second they see her. The Karn have already sent bounty orders." He pulled up a transmission on the holoscreen. A symbol appeared, the red emblem of the Karn Empire. The message was short and cold. "Return the stolen royal heir, or be erased." Gasps rippled through the room. Carter's voice was shaky. "Royal heir? She's not just a girl?" Vega glared at Rhodes. "You knew, didn't you? You knew she was important?" Rhodes's jaw tightened. "I knew she was hunted." "That was enough." Vega pointed at the screen. "We're already traitors in their eyes. You've doomed us all." The room fell silent. Every crew member's eyes turned toward the captain. Rhodes didn't move. "If saving a child makes us traitors," he said softly, "then I'll wear the title proudly." Vega's voice lowered to a dangerous whisper. "And if that child ends humanity's last safe outpost, will you still say that?" Later in the med bay, Lyra stirred weakly. She turned her head, eyes half open, and saw Rhodes standing beside her. "They know," she whispered. He nodded. "Your secret's out." Her lips trembled. "Then you must leave me. Give me back to them. It's the only way." Rhodes shook his head. "You saved us, Lyra. We're not abandoning you." She looked at him with tired eyes. "You don't understand. My blood, it's not just old technology. It's power. The Karn will destroy entire worlds to keep it from spreading, if they believe you hold it." Rhodes leaned closer. "Then let them come. We've faced worse." Lyra smiled faintly, her voice weak. "You humans, you're strange. You fight for things you can't win. Maybe that's why we survive," he said quietly. She reached out, touching his hand. "Promise me one thing, Captain." He looked at her. "What is it?" "If I don't make it, destroy the data. Don't let my blood be used again. Not by them. Not by anyone." Rhodes hesitated, his eyes dark. "I can't promise that." Her eyes shimmered with tears. "Then promise you'll choose what's right." Hours passed. Outside, the stars grew dim as they neared a neutral trading station, hidden in the debris belt. The crew hoped for supplies and answers, but betrayal came first. As they docked, Vega disappeared from the bridge. Rhodes didn't notice at first until alarms sounded again. "Captain!" Carter shouted. "Transmission detected. Someone's sending our coordinates." Rhodes' heart sank. He didn't have to ask who. By the time he reached the lower deck, Vega stood by the communications terminal, eyes full of guilt. "I had to," he said. "They promised safe passage. For all of us." Rhodes's voice was calm but deadly. You sold her out. She's not one of us. Vega snapped. She's a weapon. You saw what she did. She killed 5 ships with her mind. What happens when she turns on us? Rhodes stepped closer. She's a child. She's a threat. Rhodes drew his sidearm, but Vega didn't flinch. You won't shoot me, Captain. You need me to fix the engines. Rhodes's eyes hardened. I'll learn. Before either could move, a deep rumble shook the ship. The scanners flashed red. Carter's voice screamed over the comms. Karn fleet incoming. Dozens of ships less than 5 minutes out. Vega's face went pale. No. They were supposed to give us time. Rhodes grabbed his collar. You just killed us all. On the medbay monitor, Lyra opened her eyes. Her voice was faint but steady. Captain, she said through the intercom, don't fight them. Do what you must. Rhodes looked up at the ceiling, his heart heavy. What do you mean? Her reply came softly. End it, send the cure. Don't let them win. Rhodes froze. He realized what she meant. The data in her blood, the secret stored in the ship's system. If he transmitted it now across every network, no one could stop it. Every world, every species could heal, but it would also doom them. The Karn would destroy everything. He looked toward the stars, his jaw trembling. You're asking me to start a war? No, she whispered. I'm asking you to finish one. The countdown began. The Karn fleet appeared in the distance like burning suns. The Vigilant prepared for its last stand, and Captain Rhodes stood before the console, staring at the blinking icon labeled Broadcast Genetic Data. His finger hovered over it. He closed his eyes and made the choice. The stars burned red as the Karn fleet filled the sky. Their ships moved like a wall of fire stretching across the void. The Vigilant looked tiny in front of them, wounded, smoking, alone. Inside, the corridors shook with each distant blast. The crew knew this was it. There would be no more escapes. No more hiding. Only one final stand. Captain Rhodes stood on the bridge, staring at the glowing console. One button blinked before him. Broadcast genetic data. The key to everything, the cure hidden inside Lyra's blood. Behind him, the crew waited in silence. Vega sat slumped against the wall, hands shaking with guilt. Carter's eyes were red but fierce. Dr. Leon had come up from the medbay, his uniform still stained with smoke and ash. Lyra's voice echoed weakly through the comms. Captain, you have to do it. Rhodes gripped the edge of the console. If I send this, they'll wipe us out. Every last one of us, they'll do that anyway, she whispered. At least this way. They can't stop what comes next. Her words were soft, but they carried something stronger than fear. Belief. Outside, the Karn fleet began to charge their main cannons. Blue energy built in swirling halos lighting up the darkness. The first officer's voice crackled over the enemy channels. Human vessel Vigilant. You are surrounded. Surrender the royal carrier or be vaporized. Rhodes pressed the comm. You've already destroyed enough lives. You won't have hers. The Karn officer's reply was cold. You think you're heroes, human? You're just animals with guns. Rhodes smiled faintly. Then you should have hunted us better. He looked at his crew one last time. All hands prepare for final defense. Brooks, the engineer, gave a shaky salute. Aye, Captain. If this is the end, let's make it loud. In the medbay, Lyra tried to sit up. Her body trembled, weak and fading, but her glow returned, soft at first, then stronger. She looked out the window, seeing the enemy lights approaching like a storm. They're coming, she whispered. They'll destroy you because of me. Dr. Leon stood beside her. No, child. They'll destroy us because they fear what you represent. What do I represent? She asked. He smiled sadly. Hope. On the bridge, alarms screamed as the Karn fleet began its attack. Beams of blue plasma ripped across space, hammering the Vigilant's shields. The ship shook violently. Sparks rained from the ceiling. Shields down to 20%. Carter shouted, We can't take much more. Rhodes steadied himself, eyes fixed on the screen. The fleet numbers multiplied. They were completely surrounded now. He turned to Vega. Any last words? Vega gave a broken laugh. Yeah, I wish I'd trusted you sooner. Rhodes clapped his shoulder. You did now. That's enough. He turned back to the console. The button still blinked, waiting. Rhodes exhaled slowly. This is for every child who never saw peace, he said. Then he pressed transmit. A surge of light filled the bridge as the data pulsed out across the galaxy, through satellites, Pirate relays and forgotten networks. Every world with a receiver would now carry Lyra's code. Every species could study it. Heal with it. Share it. Dr. Leon's voice came through the comm. Captain, it's done. The signal's spreading. Lyra's faint whisper followed. You did it, Rhodes smiled. No, you did. The Karn ships reacted instantly. The fleet's main cannons glowed bright blue, ready to fire. Captain, Carter shouted. They're charging everything. Rhodes stood tall, his uniform torn, his eyes steady. All hands, he said softly. It's been an honor. The crew straightened, even Vega. There were no tears, no panic, only pride. The humans, the so-called bloodthirsty race, did not run. They stood their ground. The first blast hit. The bridge exploded in white fire. The Vigilant cracked apart, vanishing into a burst of light. Silence. Then, light spread across the void like dawn. The Karn fleet began to malfunction. Their systems flickered, weapons died, and engines went cold. Lyra's nanites transmitted through the signal, had spread like seeds of life. Machines healed instead of killed. Metal bent to protect instead of destroy. The warships that came to kill became silent witnesses to the birth of something new. Weeks later, across the galaxy, the message reached countless worlds. Diseases vanished. Radiation zones became green again. Even old battlefields grew quiet as machines shut down their weapons. And the name Vigilant spread like legend. Some said it was destroyed. Others whispered it became something more. Light scattered among the stars. On one distant moon, a single escape pod lay half buried in sand. Its hatch opened with a hiss and a small figure stepped out. Lyra. Her eyes glowed softly as she looked up at the sky. The stars shimmered like tears. She clutched a piece of torn metal, part of the Vigilance insignia. A symbol of Earth, of the humans who refused to surrender. She whispered their names softly like a prayer. The bloodthirsty humans. She smiled faintly, the only ones who fought to save me. Years later, children across worlds would tell the story of the humans who defied an empire, of the monsters who became heroes, of the ship that died not for war but for mercy. And when they looked up at the night sky, some swore they could still see a faint blue glow drifting between the stars, a ghost of the Vigilant still watching, still protecting.